Hi, I'm Lyman, and I'm here with my good friend Marcel, and together we are presenting to you the Jazz and Grass and Other Stuff Too podcast.
Hey, what's up, everyone? We're doing the thing that we always do. Things are going to be a little bit different today because we do have a special guest. Like we do in the beginning of every episode, I do want to give a shout out to our Instagram page, the Jazz and Grass Instagram page. We post a new lick every single day with 2 licks on Friday. Every single day swaps between jazz or bluegrass. And we just made our 100th post, yeah?
100!
Also, it's always fun to give that toss out that subscriber number or how many followers we have, because if we post these out of order, it won't make any sense. So yeah, we have 662 or 3 right now.
Yes, almost close.
I
to
swear
the
I
evil
wasn't
number.
just looking at it. Yeah, right. We're real close to that number. Anyway, what about that phone number, Lyman, man? If people want to leave us messages, how do they reach us?
If you want to leave us a message and just complain or yell at us or ask a question, like I prefer that one, but you can complain. You can reach us at area code 724-257-1046. That's 724-257-1046.
You feeling a little more comfortable reading numbers, huh? Did you practice?
I practiced like a good solid hour.
That's cool. You don't have to lie. You can tell me it was 2 hours. That's fine. Lyman, why don't you do the honors? Who's our special guest today?
We have in studio, I just lied to everybody. She's not in studio. She's in her place of residence, I believe. But
we're in 3 different states right now.
Yeah. We're all in studios, I guess. I don't know. But we have the wonderful, talented singer-songwriter, Hillary Seuss.
Hey, Lyman. Hey, Jazz and Grass. Hey, Marcel. Thanks for having me. I'm excited to talk to
Thank you so much
about songwriting and whatever else you want to talk about.
Sounds great.
Thank you so much for coming on. Really appreciate it. I just wanted to preface this with, I'm really bad at songwriting. I can't words good. I don't know how word, but in this call right now, there are 2 of my favorite lyricists on the planet. So this is going to be me trying to learn some stuff today, and I'm excited.
Mm.
Yeah, that's man. We can learn you how to word.
Appreciate.
Oh man. So how do you, just full disclosure, I'm meeting Hillary for the first time today. Even though at one time we all did live in Bellingham, Washington. We just, I don't think we ever were in the same room or anything. But how do you know Lyman, Hillary?
How do I know Lyman? Well, Lyman is a mutual friend of Julianne Thoma, who is a piano performance artist. And I believe she introduced us, right, Lyman?
Yes. I had been playing with her for a number of years, and she had been playing with you for a number of years. And she eventually introduced us, and we got to play some music together, and that was real cool.
Right. Yeah, and we all ended up playing music together. Lyman is all over my last record. And I think Lyman's kind of the baddest bassist in all the land. So I like working with Lyman. It's really easy, and he comes up with the coolest stuff that always is perfect. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty undeniable. You are the baddest bassist. I mean, I notice that a lot on the show. Like most of the time when we have guests and people on, man, everyone knows Lyman. Whether it's a good reputation or a bad reputation, man, everyone knows you.
Thank you for bringing me back down to earth. I was getting a little too buttered up there. So you can always count on you, Marcel. Appreciate you.
Yeah, I got to make the playing field level. I can't put you up too high or else, I feel irrelevant. But yeah, go on. I want to hear more about this album.
Okay. Well, it came out a couple years ago. It's called The Heart Will Jump with Nowhere to Fall. And it's kind of a series of, gay love songs. And Yeah, I put a lot of work into that record. I spent a long time writing the songs, probably 2 or 3 years, and then I recorded them all in 2 days for cost reasons, but in a real studio. And then I worked really hard to market it once it was done. And I kind of worked the hardest I ever had to market it, and that was kind of a grueling process. But I got some good press out of it, some features and things like that. And yeah, I don't know. It was kind of a whole ordeal. It's so much work. I have maybe enough songs to make another one at this point, but I don't know. I'm a little scared because it's so much work. But
well, you kind of ride that wave as a songwriter, right? Where you have to like take all these songs, you have to whittle them down, you have to actually put together the album, like get it on paper and then get it recorded and everything. And then you put all this time into like pushing for it and like getting people to listen to it and like annoying all your friends on Facebook. And you get to this point where you just feel like totally drained, like you just have to drop it and not talk about it, and then you can finally like write more songs.
Yeah, I mean that's really true. And yeah, in the songs I put a lot of pressure on myself as a writer because I always think about like James Taylor playing Fire and Rain for like 50 years, and I know I shouldn't put that kind of pressure on myself, but it's like I want the songs to be good enough that I feel somewhat comfortable bugging on my friends about it, or, you know, playing the songs over and over again at shows. I try to write a song that I don't tire of easily. So that whole process is hard too.
I think that's a pretty cool pursuit, though. I mean, to put on yourself that, hey, I at least want to write stuff that I don't get bored of. I mean, because that's doing most of the editing work for you. I mean, you know, most first drafts of a song, when you have those lazy lines, like, you know, like the famous blues line that I woke up this morning, you know, and like you write a song with that at the beginning and you're like, all right, that's the first thing I have to go because I'm not going to be wanting to sing that in 50 years, you know?
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And yeah, all the cliches that, you know, you rely on at first because you don't quite understand what you're trying to say. Yeah, those have to go.
Yeah. That's a really interesting thing about songwriting too, is the actual revision process. I don't know how you personally feel about it. It sounds like we might be on the same page, but my favorite songwriters are the ones that are willing to like set fire to everything. Like no matter how dear it is, no matter how long they've held onto it, eventually if they reach a point where it's obvious it's not working, they're willing to like, you know, bin it and start again. And I think that that's probably one of those more valuable traits as a songwriter, is to be willing to just, you know, sort of at an appropriate moment, give up on something, right? You're like working on a song and like, even though you really like this chorus initially, like you sing it over and over again. And then you realize like, oh, I hate this chorus. And I'm not just going to stand by it. I'm going to make something better. I think a lot of people struggle with that. And probably in that amateur sense too. Like when you first start writing songs, you're like afraid to change anything. You like write it in a night and you're like, all right, 15 minutes for a song. Can't change it now. Do you feel that in some of your songwriting?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's kind of like it's a form writing. So if you change one part, you have to change all the parts, if that makes sense. So yeah, definitely. If you have to change something, oftentimes it's not just one thing. You have to change the whole structure of the song. If you're just changing one line. But sincerity is a big deal to me. I mean, I really try to write songs that I believe. And that's not easy to do. And it takes time. When someone tells me they wrote a song in 5 minutes, my first thought is, well, it's probably not very good. But I know that's like not very nice, but you know, sometimes you have bursts of energy and it works and it's magical. But I wouldn't say that's usually the case.
Yeah, I think the worth that normally comes out of those tunes, once again comes from that revision process. And it's not hard to like scribble down an idea in 5 or 10 minutes. It can be hard to then take that idea and, sort of polish it into something that's actually shiny. What you write down in those first couple minutes probably isn't worth that much.
Yeah.
Very rarely. You're just going to find a couple lines that are worth something, and then you'll be able to craft that into something good.
Yeah, it's a patient process, I think. And it can be really irritating and really frustrating if you're trying to make something work. Thankfully, I'm not on deadlines, or I don't have any pressure from, I would like to have pressure from a label or something. That would obviously be the dream. But I don't have that kind of pressure.
Yeah. Well, on a time basis, like how long things take to make, composition and improvisation are kind of the same thing. They're just on different time frames. When you improvise, you're still creating things. You're creating new ideas and making them up on the spot. There is no revision process, though. What you made just stands on its own. And hopefully no one's recording it, so no one can look back on it, see how bad it really was. And then if you're talking about composition, right, you have infinite time to make as many structured changes that will make sense to you. And, it's interesting to have you on the show, I guess, is what I'm getting at, because me and Lyman talk so much about improvisation, and we don't talk a lot about that revision process and how important it is to, like, change things and let things go and, be more and more honest to the idea that you're trying to communicate as you go through your process.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, you talked a little bit about honesty. I was going to ask you, you said honesty is important in my songs. This is kind of a dangerous question for songwriters, but do you ever sacrifice like what actually happened for the sake of a good song?
Oh, that's interesting. Well, I said sincerity, which I guess is different than honesty. I'm not really writing like...
Yeah, that's true. Yes, that's true.
Non-fiction accounts. Yeah, I mean, I make stuff up all the time in songs. There's still truth in fiction, right? I mean...
Oh, yeah.
But... Oh, yeah.
No, I wasn't trying to scare you off. I don't think that's a dirty thing at all. In fact, I think that it's probably like a good trait to have as a songwriter, right? I mean, just because something happened to you doesn't mean like you want to put that exact thing into the song. There might be a way to like strengthen that story or anything.
Yeah.
I don't know why that feels dirty when people talk about
that. You make, an experience of, pain or happiness or whatever into some kind of metaphor. And that's, but yeah, definitely I will change what happened. I mean, I think life is in general, exciting things don't happen every day in life, and art is a place where you can add the excitement, add the drama, and you can stylize it.
For sure.
Yeah, definitely. I would say my life is in general pretty boring. I like work a lot. I don't know. Yeah, I wouldn't want to write
a lot of songs about working.
Life.
Yeah.
No one would want to listen to those songs.
Yeah. Lyman, what are you feeling over there? I'm doing the whole job for you.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. But like, I recently tried to write a song, and you brought up honesty. It was a song about love and loss, but like, super cliche. But the actual experience like I drew from was my favorite baseball team, the Seattle Mariners, failed to sign a free agent. And I was really, really sad about that.
How did you communicate it into your song?
Well, the general manager, Jerry DePoto, said it felt like being left at the altar.
Oh.
And it was quite accurate. So I don't want to share it. It's a garbage song. But I was really sad that we lost out on Shohei Ohtani. And thankfully, we play better baseball than the Angels do right now. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
Screw 'em.
Yeah, it's funny how you get inspiration from things like that. You never know what's going to actually push you to write a song. And a lot of times that inspiration is something that gets changed and kind of molded. Yeah, not to dig too deep, but would there be, I'll even do it with you if you'd like. Is there something that you've written recently that you would maybe share the inspiration from and maybe how you twisted it a little bit to make it a song? Is that an interesting question or is that strange?
No, that's an interesting question. I am also a writer. So I write fiction and nonfiction, and a lot of my songs are like, I don't know, paraphrase versions of things that I've already written. And I steal kind of liberally from things I see in life and in reading and in my own work. So,
of course, at work, you said you work a lot, so work has to be included in that list.
Yeah, I work as a writer too. Work from home. This is my office bedroom that I'm in right now. I've been working recently. I've been working on what I would call murder ballads, but they're not really ballads. They're just kind of long love songs. And they're like, it's like a concept album that's about murdering, but it's also about my recent breakup and like love loss. You know, every song is a love song, Lyman. So even if you love baseball, I think that's fine. That's fair game. But I do think all songs are love songs.
Thank you for giving me permission. I feel like inspired
you've
now.
Been justified.
Yeah. So, well, you should feel justified and inspired, you know, because if you don't, it's hard to start a project. But yeah, that's what I've been working on recently. Just kind of like, I don't know. It's hard to pinpoint exactly what the inspiration is. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's fine. Sometimes you don't have, that like, like bullet point to like, actually point the finger at and say, hey, this is what, started the whole thing. Especially after a song is done, once you finish the work and you try to break apart where different things came from, sometimes it's really hard to kind of unweave it.
Yeah, and I think a lot of love songs, at least sad love songs, are always about absence, right? So you're working in a space of something not being there. In that, you literally can't locate it. You just know that there's, an absence center.
Yeah.
Yeah, I never really thought of that far into the process. Like a love and loss song is a song about absence. It's a real interesting concept, and probably basic to you guys, but cool to me. But my favorite songwriters all read, and I don't read, so
you got to learn, man. I can teach you.
I would very much appreciate that.
Yeah, let's hop on this Skype call every day after school, and we can just start working our way through the basics, man.
Yeah.
If I ran the zoo, all the places you'll go, 10 apples up on top. I mean, all the good stuff.
My wife likes to read, but she goes to another school, so you'll probably never meet her.
Oh yeah, she. Yeah, that's good. Well done. I'll leave that alone. We'll move on.
Got him.
What about the last thing that always is an interesting conversation with people who write songs is deciding when things are done.
Yeah.
Is that something that you ever feel like you struggle with?
I really struggle with that. I think they're done when you record them, honestly. I guess I still change songs after they're recorded, but I would say they're done when they're recorded. I mean, but up until that point, you play them over and over and over and over again, and then maybe they change a little bit each time, but the recording is when it's done.
Yeah, that's the one that you're going to like check back to. Like if you ever forget anything, that's what you're going to listen to.
Yeah.
So I've noticed that in a lot of my experience writing songs and recording songs that I'll make these changes in the studio, you know, whether they're, you know, small changes or big changes. And then that becomes like, just like you're saying, that becomes my definitive version. Where even though on a whim, you know, I added a little, you know, run or something else, now whenever I play the song, I know that that has to be there.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's almost like the concrete is kind of like drying and you put your hands in it and there's, you know, it can't be changed after that.
Yeah. Yeah, trying to work things out in the studio is really stressful.
Yeah, that's right. So right before we started recording the podcast now, you mentioned that last album was sort of a marathon recording session.
Yeah.
You did a bunch of work in like 2 days, yeah?
Yeah, it was. We recorded it in like 2 days, I think. And it was in a legit studio, so it sounded good. But yeah, and we did rehearsals as a band together, like before, but that was sort of minimal too, where I just kind of sent the demos to everyone, and then we kind of just dove in and did it.
Yeah, I had like 2 rehearsals.
Yeah, that sounds
total.
about right. But
well, I mean, that might not be too much of a problem. It depends on the musicians you hire. I think Lyman could have gone with even less rehearsals. But, you know, just depending on the people you bring in. Like I've had great experiences, like awful experiences with like hiring people to come sit on in on an album. You like don't know how long it's going to take. And you're like, oh, I'm paying for every hour that ticks by.
takes a long time. You have to track every single thing, and usually more than once.
Hopefully more than once.
Yeah, usually like 3 times.
Funny story. I didn't think about this until like I actually sat down here today. Our previous guest, David Pender Lofgren, recorded drums on Hillary's album.
Yeah, he did.
Oh.
Yeah, I like his work.
Wow, that means so if you watch all the podcasts and then you look back, I'm the only one that wasn't on this album. That's wonderful.
Well, there is a couple other people, but maybe they'll be your guests in the future.
Yeah, that's how we'll decide. You'll be our one connecting element.
It's funny.
When we run out of people, we'll just contact other people and your like friends and family. You're like, oh, you know Hillary? That's great. You should come on the podcast.
The point of origin, the start.
Yeah.
Speaking of start, like I had a question I wanted to ask both of you. What gets you started, like writing a song? Like, how do you get over that like hump of starting?
I think, like Marcel said, it's just improv. You're just messing around and you find something that you like and you play it a few times. You maybe hum over it to find a melody, or at least that's what I do.
That's a classic move. Yeah, that's what I do too.
Then you put the words in.
How do you start putting words in? I guess I should have been more specific. How do you start like the lyric writing process? What are good starters for you two?
I tend to when I start writing the lyrics, just like Hillary said, I'll hum something in, or I'll just rough something in with my voice, and I like to record a lot when I'm writing. So like I have my like cell phone, my voice memos. A lot of times I'll record ideas, but I won't like check them. I won't listen to them afterwards, knowing that I'm gonna let the idea kind of keep evolving. I just want a little bit of a track record. So if I get like too off base, I can like check back on what I was thinking before. But yeah, then I just take a bunch of kind of garbage words that I don't care about at all. Just like you would kind of do with an instrument. Like I do my best to just like say something that kind of makes sense or is going the direction that I want to go. And I write it all down. And then depending on what I've come up with, normally there are a couple lines in there that are, passable that I might leave in that might be worth something. But there's definitely a moment where like I'll take a line in particular and I'll just workshop the hell out of it. And I'll be like, this line is like right at the end of a verse. It needs to be something good. Or, maybe this couplet at the end. It needs to have some kind of like metaphor. It needs to relate back to something. It needs to be like meaningful. And I'll just run it over and over and over again until I think of something that's not like trite and overused on something that I can stand by. Right. And you just continue that throughout your songwriting process. And like I said, I burn a lot of things too. So, I might come up with a chorus form that I like and, get halfway through a chorus and then realize I don't like the second half and cut that, try to come up with something new and just start that process over. It's tough. I mean, yeah, that's why I said you have to be okay with throwing things away, because in the beginning when you're roughing things in, that's what it is. You're constantly saying like, how can I make that better? How can I make that better? And as you put in better things, you're discarding things that were just placeholders.
Yeah. Yeah. My process is similar. I start with guitar and then I'll hum melodies. And then I sit with the writing for a long time and but as the writing changes, then the music changes. So, I mean, it's really just a process where you're trying things over and over and over again until they feel right. And I'm a pretty unconventional songwriter, so I don't write, verse, chorus type of songs. Sometimes I do, but my songs, like maybe movements is a better way to think of them. I'll do them in parts, and I think of them in parts, so I don't get so overwhelmed, and I'm working on one part at a time.
Yeah, that's that's cool for tons of reasons. Mainly because you're forced to actually create like a storyline throughout a tune. That isn't like cookie cutter. That isn't, we all know that like intro, verse, chorus, bridge, chorus, maybe double chorus at the end, out works. But, that's a really easy way to tell the arc of that story, but to create something new is really cool. It also saves you from that, you said you have written some songs that are first chorus. I think every songwriter has felt the feeling of like finishing a verse and a chorus and then having to write the second verse and feeling like the worst feeling in the world. Like, oh man, everything's so good up to this point. And now once again, I have to put something down new, but I don't want to ruin this song. So like, I'm afraid to put something down,
Yeah, that's real.
That's real.
And like listening to songs as a songwriter too, you hear that a lot where it's like this verse just isn't as good, or I wish
this is obviously a second verse. Yeah.
Yeah.
Did your cat just enter the room?
My cat did just enter the room. I'm going to go kick him out. You can cut this if you want. You can leave it in. Yeah.
Transition.
Casual.
I don't have a lot of experience with, the lyric portion of writing songs. I've tried for a number of years, but never really felt like I've written anything I can really, stand by. But I do like to compose, and I do like to work with melody and harmony. So I just wanted to kind of ask both of you guys, like, just general overview of like some of your favorite moves when it comes to melody and harmony. I'll probably play a little bit. That's like every lo-fi song I've written for the past 3 months. And there's a language that I've sort of created, but I'll get to that in another podcast.
Man, I'm glad you just summed that all up for me. Now I can just watch this clip and I'll know how you do all your lo-fi stuff. Hillary, why don't you go first? What do you like to do a lot when you write songs? Compositionally, I guess.
Ooh, I don't know. I feel like I don't think about harmonies that much until the recording phase because I perform by myself for the most part. So I kind of don't think about that.
I should clarify. When I say harmony, I mean just like chords, like the underlying harmony that's with the melody.
Oh, okay, I see.
So I should have clarified. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I like really weird chords. I like open chords. I like big sounding chords. I play a lot in kind of a drop D tuning. And a lot of my songs in standard tuning are in E. So, I like the big open sounds. And also totally. Kind of like a lazy guitar player. So that's another reason I play in open tunings a lot.
You're going to fit right in with this podcast because I am the laziest guitar player.
I think that's a prerequisite. All guitar players are lazy guitar players.
So, I'd like the big theatrical chords, but, ones that are easy too. I don't know. Like I said, I'm kind of unconventional in that I don't have a lot of like theory knowledge, but I sort of like tailor make each chord in each song, if that makes sense. So I really just mess around on the guitar until I find something that I think sounds cool and weird.
Yeah.
I love weird chords. Anybody who listens to this podcast knows that.
Yeah. Your weekly chord segment.
Yeah. I have no new
chord.
I have no new chords this week. First time.
Yeah, how do you learn new chords? Lyman.
What I do is I have a rudimentary understanding like of how chords are built. Like this is a major triad. This is a major triad with another note on top, the root note. And you can do interesting things like skip notes. So there's a voicing for a major triad. You can add notes. That's a major 6 chord. You can do different things. I just move my fingers around, try to find things that sound cool, and then once I find a sound that I like, I will name that sound. So this chord has an F, a D, an A, and a B flat. So that's a B flat major 7 chord.
Cool.
Yeah, that's true. You nerd.
Yeah, I just nerd out hard. Like, I find weird chords because I'm a nerd, but like I try to move my hands in weird positionings, like stuff that isn't too comfortable, but like isn't like totally uncomfortable. Maybe I'll go back and transcribe those chords and put some tab to them and name them for you, but I'm not going to do that right now. So
this is kind of interesting because I feel like we're all going to give different answers in terms of like finding chords and applying chords that are new and different. I really like when I'm writing a song to like try to write it out with like the most basic harmony. So like as simple as the chords can be, 1, 4, and 5, just, simple, as easy as it's going to get. And then looking at the song objectively from that point, I'm like, where does it need more? Or like maybe even where does it need less after, I've added enough. And you take the song, and of course you got to twist the melody as you do that, but you add more and build onto it more and more as it goes. But normally, yeah, when I write songs, I guess I keep that melody and that chord structure pretty simple until the majority of it's ironed out, and then I'm adding those layers of complexity as I think that they're needed or interesting. I've never thought about it that way. That's so interesting to actually say it out loud, but I think that's what I do.
Documented. You had a nice eloquent answer, and I'm just like, I put hand on guitar.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. My answer was pretty much like that too.
Yeah, I can think of there was a song I wrote too, where like I had put all the normal chords to it, and it was pretty simple stuff. And I was doing it in C, so all of the everything was basically C, F, and G. And I knew that I wanted some kind of like guitar lead to tie back into the whole thing. And I remember when I was writing it that I thought that I should just play the melody while I play the chords. Right, something like that. And it ended up being much more complicated because I was like, well, that's kind of boring, you know, and you end up... something like that. You know, that's, I think that we're all doing the same thing, just at different levels of songwriting. I do it like very last. You guys are doing it at the same time when you're writing everything else.
I think
I'm a chords first kind of guy.
Me too.
Like that's
yeah.
Really? Oh, that's super cool.
I just think the rule should be is to make it as cool as possible, you know, at any stage.
The rule of cool, yeah.
How do you make it as cool as it can be?
You should teach a class. All right, so what I'm looking for is just some real cool who's ever gonna like, you know, write a tune. I just want to know, like, just give me the coolest stuff.
Right. That's the most important rule.
Oh man.
The Rule of Cool podcast title.
By the way, the Rule of Cool is actually a thing in Dungeons and Dragons, and I'm going to talk about it more in the podcast, I promise. But the idea is that if you're like running a campaign, if something cool could ever happen, you can just break whatever rules you need to so that the cool moment can be allowed. And they call it the Rule of Cool. And some people have like house rules where like they're not going to allow the Rule of Cool, and other people like think it's fine. Yeah, I love it. It applies to everyday life as well.
The rules of the game could be broken for cool things to happen. Excellent. I'll keep that in mind.
That's brilliant.
I
think it's time to get into this recurring stuff, maybe. You want to do one more thing before we get there?
I was just going to ask if there was any songwriting like tips you would give to beginning songwriters like me.
Just do the work. I mean, it's not going to do itself, and no reason. I mean, I guess that's my only advice. I mean, it's a very experimental process that takes time, but you know, you can't just worry about it. You have to just dive in and do it.
That's like the advice I've received for every single thing in life. So it works. It's good advice. So I'll take that to heart and just try to word better.
Yeah, I mean, and if it helps to make a routine, I mean, you're not going to have good ideas every day, but you could try to write every day. Sometimes that works for some people. Not everyone likes to write every day, but something like that can be helpful to keep yourself accountable or to make sure you feel like you're getting work done.
Mm-hmm.
So true, man. You gotta like try hard enough to fail, and like know that the people who are really good at this thing have failed a million times before you. Like they've failed more times than you've even tried, and all those perspectives of just like, I have to keep going. You know, I'm gonna keep doing this. I'm gonna keep trying until I actually create something good. that's just all the advice you can ask for anything, like anything that you do. You're just going to have to do it a lot, and you're probably not going to be very good at it for a considerable amount of time.
Yeah, definitely. And I think young songwriters kind of get caught up in worrying about playing out or going on tour, but it really, like, it starts with just make good stuff, you know, and that's the most important thing, really. And then
just make cool stuff. The world's cool.
Just make it as cool as it can be. And then worry about that stuff later, because that's a whole other can of worms. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I agree.
Well, perfect. I'm definitely going to listen back to this one because there's lots of great tidbits for all people who are trying to write songs. And it's definitely going to be helpful to me. So thank you, guys. Let's move on.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, too long didn't read. Just write cool stuff. Just make it real cool. Go ahead, Lyman. You lead us in.
My favorite reoccurring segment. I am drinking out of a yellow cup.
Oh man, Lyman's plastic cup today is a yellow cup. It is a plastic cup purchased by his wife, so that way he knocks over no more cups and breaks them. Thank you so much for sharing that with us, Lyman. Hillary, are you drinking out of something in particular? Would you like to share what you're drinking out of?
I'm drinking out of a B. Boulder pint glass. #Forever Buffs.
You mean it's not something plastic that your significant other bought for you so that way you would stop breaking glass items?
No, it's not.
Oh, that's so interesting.
I think it's my roommates. I actually don't know who this glass belongs to. It does not belong to me.
Oh, man. You can just imagine what it's like for me constantly having to be on here with Lyman. He can't even drink out of a glass cup. Not even ceramic. It's got to be plastic.
I'm not in sippy cup timeout yet.
Yeah.
If wife ever finds podcast, it's sippy cups for me for probably a good 3 months.
Sounds like she has you on a tight leash if she's controlling your cup usage.
Just
when it comes,
just my cups. Just my cups.
Yeah.
I can stay out till 4 a.m, but for sure not drinking out of a glass.
Okay.
Like that's not okay.
Yeah.
When it comes to the dishware, that's where you draw the line. Flatware is fine. You can use all the normal utensils. You're not on plastic, but the cups, that's where she really cracks it down.
Yeah, like I'm allowed to use very sharp knives, but no glass.
Oh, man, let's just run this joke into the ground right before you lead us into this new segment, Lyman.
Okay. What we've been listening to / what inspires us over the last, period of time. We do this every week, but you, Hillary, you can talk about something over the last year or so if you wanted to. Just things that inspire you or that you're really into right now.
I listen to a lot of things, anywhere from, hip hop to indie rock to bluegrass to folk. The music that sticks with me generally is a genre I like to call sad girl music. And that's the stuff I generally love and listen to a lot. Sad girls that I love recently are Phoebe Bridgers. I think she's really good. I love Big Thief. There are some other sad girls that I love. Those are some big ones. I'm pulling up my Spotify right now just so that I can look.
While you're doing that, can you give us an example of a very famous sad girl?
Joni
just
Mitchell.
For people listening,
it's
the ultimate sad girl.
It's a very famous sad girl. I love Joni Mitchell. I think she's one of the best songwriters and guitarists of all time, but she doesn't get that label because she is, a girl. I think before people kind of recognize,
that's true.
Female songwriters as being great. Another sad girl that I love is Tracy Chapman. I would call her a sad girl. Love Tracy Chapman. I love Casey Musgrave's new album, which was a surprise. That's like pop country, but I think that is an amazing record that she just came out with. And it's not sad. It actually is like a celebration of joy. And it does it in like a really honest way. But yeah, I listen widely. I'm a big runner, so I like a lot of like hip hop songs that are like, mostly about, I don't know, for some reason, that's like the songs I run to. Yeah, I like the bangers, Yeah. Bangers that I really like. Let's see. Bruno Mars' new record is amazing. SZA.
Oh, yeah.
That Culture is an amazing record. And obviously anything Kendrick Lamar does, he's like salt. He goes good on everything. Let's see. Janelle Monáe just came out with a new record. Yeah, those are kind of like the bangers that I like.
Man, I love that you have it all broken up, the sad girls and the bangers, and like that's
those
what it is.
Those are kind of my two speeds, really, in life. Honestly.
yeah, you have like these two moods, these two like settings.
Yeah. I'm just like I'm going fast, or I'm like, contemplating like in my bed or something.
That's true. That's great. Yeah, and if you happen to be going fast and being contemplative, you have Fast Car by Tracy Chapman. Whoa, bringing it full circle.
Pew, 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 pew.
That is a great song. Great song.
Mm-hmm. Man. Yeah, she is more than that one song, though, no matter what anyone else would have you believe. I feel like that's all that ever gets called out.
Yeah, or Give Me One Reason.
Or Give Me One Reason.
Yeah. But actually, my favorite record of hers is one that doesn't have any famous songs, and it's called Where We Live. And that is a beautiful record.
Yeah, see, I don't even know that. I'm a bad sad girl fan.
I'm a pretty good sad girl fan.
Yeah, Lyman, there's no way you can beat that, but feel free to go next.
Well, last night I went to go see Kesha and Macklemore. And I've discovered something. I hate going to concerts. Not in the way you might think. I hate the act of going to a concert. I hate everything that comes until like after their first song. I'm going to hate life until like their first song is over. And then I'm going to have a really good time. And then I love being at concerts. But I hate going to concerts. I had to drive. Well, we had to drive 3 hours there. Had to wait in line. It was 100 degrees. It got down to 90 after the sun went all the way away. But it was really hot. And then Kesha got on stage and she was absolutely phenomenal. Like, she had a band with her. I have no idea who they were, but they were super, super tight. And what really inspired me was just the performance, the choreography, how much energy they were putting out, all of them. They were all giving 110%. And I've had the fortune to play with a number of great musicians. But I feel like getting into that headspace to give like 110% every night is something a lot of us lowly peasants just lack. We can give strong 70 to 90% performances all day long, but like watching Kesha go to the next level with her band was really eye-opening and inspiring to me. And when Macklemore came out, I thought there was no way he could top it. And I've never seen Macklemore live, but he did. His energy was incredible. His backup vocalist, DJ, his horn players, they were all dancing their asses off. And I haven't been to a concert like that in quite some time. And I felt like, to bring this back around to baseball, like I'm one of those kids in like rookie or A ball. And I went with the team to go see a major league game. And like that's the thing. That's the show. That's what I'm shooting for. So I just left feeling like invigorated and inspired and like actually wanting to get in shape so I can perform better. Like, so that was weird. Like leaving with a desire to exercise. I don't think that's ever happened before from anything. So yeah, Kesha and Macklemore, two great performers. 10 out of 10 would go again. They're on tour right now, so see if you can't swipe tickets. The tickets we got were $20.
Wow.
Worth every penny.
Wow, that's cheap.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, going to see live music is like a really great way to be inspired. Especially if you're feeling stuck creatively. I think it can be really, really helpful.
Yeah. Hey, yeah, I didn't say this earlier, but you just made me think of something. Sometimes if I like a line from a popular song, I'll just lift it entirely, knowing that I have to replace it later, but using it as a jumping off point to write a song of my own. And normally it's like a cool hook or something, and it's just, it's mine while I have it. I get to write a whole new song around it. And then if I want to keep the song, I know that I have to change it because it's not mine.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
Really good idea.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, what I've been listening to. I'm next, yeah?
Yep.
All right, so I kind of had a weird thing happen to me, but I'm going to go there. So those of you that watch the podcast, you know that both me and Lyman are of mixed race. And I'm half Mexican. My mom came over from Mexico when she was like 6 or 7. And the movie Coco came out recently, which is about a little Mexican boy that plays guitar named Miguel. And my real name is actually Michael. So all of my Mexican family called me Miguel when I was a kid. So I had this whole like thing where I was like, I don't want to see this movie. Like, I'm not going to like this movie. It's going to be like Mulan for Mexican people. And like, it's going to be kind of offensive, but like people are going to like it too much. And I finally watched it and I loved it just so much. Just like a stupid amount. It was really like kind of respectful and like really honest about what the culture is. And I know some people don't think that. I mean, I went out and looked and there's very few articles that try to, push that narrative. I just don't think it's true. I thought it was really good. They nailed like 12 different styles of like Mexican traditional music. And I don't know, like when I was a kid, I wasn't a huge fan of my Mexican heritage either. It wasn't something that like I toted around or like really wanted to be part of. I felt weird and ashamed of it. And this movie, for whatever weird reason, just made me think like, hey, I should like get in touch with those people again and like try to do some more of this stuff. So I went and I started researching a bunch of the Mexican music that I really wasn't interested in my childhood, that like my grandmother would shout in the kitchen. It's like super loud accordion, bass thumping Mexican music. And so I started listening to this mariachi stuff and I realized that the style I really like is called Trio Romantico. And it's a style for 3 guys who are, or 3 women, but the genders have to be the same because their voice types have to match. 2 guitars and then 1 smaller guitar called requinto guitar, which is basically like having a capo on 5th fret. It's like as high up as a ukulele. And that plays all the lead lines. And it's just super cool and beautiful, super like talented, 3 voice tight harmonies of like, that tenor, lead, and a baritone, just singing this super tight stuff. And all the rhythms are like complex. And then there's just like one guy who has to play lead guitar while singing and is just nailing it the whole time. It's super cool. And so I've been picking up a lot of that stuff. And I think I'm going to pick up one of those guitars for cheap and try to start playing some of that. I looked online. There's some that you can get for like $200, and I figured I should just bite the bullet and do it and see if I like it, and then get a nicer one later.
Yeah, do it.
My point is that Coco made me love my Mexican music heritage again.
Sounds like you had a similar experience with Coco as I did with like Moana.
Oh yeah, did you have that experience? I didn't know. We've never talked about this.
I didn't think the music was very, representative of the music that my mother played for me when I was small, but the movie was great and I loved the movie. And The Rock's character was freaking awesome.
Yeah, it's kind of a cool thing that they're doing. I know some people are mad about it because they're worried that, like these films are trying too hard to just represent every culture and make every culture even. But, almost like we're being pandered to a little bit too much, that they were like, oh, yeah, Lyman's going to love that movie and Marcel's going to love this movie. But it just feels really cool to be represented. I guess it's just, at the end of the day, how it feels. Yeah.
That person looks like me. That's awesome.
Yeah. That's what it feels like. Yeah. Who doesn't want to feel represented?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And yeah, I mean, art is just like this. I'm going to say something kind of corny and cliche, but it's like a journey toward your own voice. And if you don't have examples that, catch you in your life, I think it's really damaging. And, it's really inspiring when you find something where it's like, oh, yeah, that's what I've been thinking about, or that's how I've been feeling. I mean, yeah. Cool. I think you definitely need to get that guitar.
Yeah, I'm on it. I already started writing some stuff out, man. Next time, it's all gonna be bump and bass accordion music with me. It's really loud Mexican shout singing.
I am not getting a ukulele or saying it properly.
That's great. You just, man, whose side are you on, man?
I appreciate it. It's awesome. I'm just not going to do it. I'm going to let the people who are good at it do it.
Yeah.
But yeah, for sure. You get that. You get at that little guitar.
The tiny guitar. All right. Well, I mean, that's it. Yeah, we're kind of at it.
Yeah.
Well, it was wonderful having you on, Hillary. Thanks for all of your songwriting wisdom.
Thank you for all your songwriting wisdom, and thanks, Marcel and Lyman and Jazz and Grass. I like what you're doing.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Where can the people find you? Is there anything you want to plug?
Yeah.
Plug it all.
You can find me pretty much anywhere on the internet. Hillary Seuss, HILLARYSUSZ. I'm on Spotify, Apple Music. I have a website, HillarySeuss.com. You can find me pretty much anywhere you like to listen to music.
Where good music is found, you can find Hillary. Love it.
And definitely pick up her record. I'm not biased or anything, but pick it up.
You were on it.
Hashtag not spawn.
Oh man, I actually have that on a sign right now. I'm totally breaking up the flow of this ending segment. I just want to show you that I actually have, if I didn't just ruin it, I actually have not sponsored on a sign right here.
With the hashtag.
How did that happen? Wow. Yeah.
I saw it in your latest video.
Wow.
My name's Marcel. You can find me all around the web as well. Everything's branded Lessons with Marcel. So if you're looking for me on YouTube, you can find Bluegrass Guitar Lessons under Lessons with Marcel. You can also find me in the other big three places, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. You can check out my website, lessonswithmarcel.com. You can sign up for Skype lessons. You can find a bunch of free stuff on there. And of course, there is the Instagram account that I run with Lyman. That is Jazz and Grass New Lick every single day, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Not on the weekends because we need to sleep sometimes. Every single day, we transition back and forth between a bluegrass lick and a jazz lick with 2 licks on Friday because we're scared of not even numbers.
Mm-hmm. Damn straight. I'm Lyman Lipke. You can find me at lymanlipke.com. Link in description. I put out a new track every Tuesday and Friday. This year, it's lo-fi hip-hop that's like kind of jazz-inspired. If you're looking for interesting things to play over, like improvise over, I got some interesting changes coming up. So you could use those as backing tracks if you wanted. And yeah, that's pretty much what I've been working on the last little while. I'm going to talk about that real soon. I go super in depth with that, but not today.
Yeah, that's it though. That's where you can find all of us. Thank you so much for listening. It's so exciting to see those numbers go up and up when we look at our dashboard, see how many plays we're getting.
So thank you.
We're famous.
Thank you everybody for listening. And please do call us, like just to say hi or whatever. And the number is 724-257-1046. That's 724-257-1046.
All right, cool. We'll see y'all next time.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.